evening and welcome back to Cannon Chatter TV. So, as you can see, Stephen's not with us today, and I'm in the hot seat. Stephen's not with us because he's not well at the moment. So, Stephen, make sure you feel better. And tonight, joining me, of course, is one of my partners in crimes, co-host G. How are you, G?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Obviously, shout out to Stephen. We got the message this morning just to say that he wasn't feeling very well this morning. I woke up feeling a little bit groggy, but not as bad as him. So I'm in my hoodie today just to keep warm. I was saying to Albert and Lottie that I cooked some hard food, so fried up some chicken and rice and some hot pepper sauce just to kind of keep up my strength. It's because I'm hoping to kind of dodge it before it kind of takes hold of me. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully it won't get me too bad. At the moment, I'm just a bit bunged up and a bit headachy. But other than that, I'm all right, man. You know, ready to talk about this game, I think, anyway.
And on the bottom of the screen, I've got one of my favourite star strikers down below from Albert JTV. Albert, how are you?
No, come back to Cannon Chatter family, man. It's good, man. It's all good. Stephen, get better soon, bro. Get better soon, but it's a pleasure to be on, man. Tired, but I always make time for certain people. Don't worry about it. Always.
Appreciate that,
I'm
brother.
glad to hear it, guys. Glad to hear it. Okay, so let's run the intro.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing. The first time it's happened.
And welcome back to Cannon Chatter TV. As we've just said, all hello to you. I'm back with G Talks Arsenal, my usual co-host, and of course, one of my favourite strikers, Albert JTV. So the latest news at the moment, guys, is obviously the big sacking up in Manchester, which is Ole, which I'm quite disappointed about because I was hoping we could sing Ole's at the wheel, if you know what I mean. But it's just... Has it come as a shock to you, G, that he's actually left?
Nah, not to be honest, nah. I think the writing was pretty much on the wall. Given recent results. I know quite a few United fans, just from kind of childhood growing up in around London. Even though it's Manchester, but yeah, loads of them are from London. But yeah, so it's been quite fun actually. Oli being at United, especially in recent times. I think a lot has got to be said for the fact that he took them to second place in the league last season. I don't think a lot of people expected that, and for me, I would say that was actually a really, really impressive achievement. Given the fact that he finished above Liverpool and who was it? Liverpool, Chelsea. Who won the league last season? Was it City?
Yeah, definitely City.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it was a good achievement. And to be fair, going into this season, I actually had them as potential title contenders, given the fact that they'd finished second last season. And when I looked at the likes of obviously Sancho and the late arrival of Ronaldo late in the window, I thought that this could be their season where they really have a goal at winning the title. But for whatever reason, it didn't really work out. But I wouldn't necessarily say it was a shock. I think the writing was on the wall. The performances weren't great. The results didn't really go his way. And I probably think he was in the job a little bit longer than most people expected. I think just because of his kind of legendary status at the club, to be fair. But yeah, it's one of those ones where really and truly, when it comes to United, I don't really care too much about what's going on with them in terms of managerial merry-go-round or how they're doing that. At the same time, they are kind of, infamously, our rival from back in the day. So always kind of keep an eye on what's going on. But yeah, I'm sad he's gone. Just because do you know what I mean? I thought he was doing a fantastic job, but hey,
Yeah, well, they haven't beaten us.
Decisions.
Yeah, no. Well, they haven't beaten us in the league since 2008. 2018. They beat us in 2019 FA Cup, but that's about it.
I don't think
so. I'm definitely going to miss him.
He had a single win over Arteta.
Nope, no, he hasn't. He hasn't. Albs, are you going to miss him?
Not really. I mean, the thing is, a lot of people were saying that if they lost to Watford, he'd be gone. I'm like, I wasn't really sure because I thought there's been plenty of games this season that United haven't got good results, and he probably should have gone then. To be honest with you, so it was a little bit of a surprise that he actually bit the bullet. But I think the way they lost that game as well, and G makes a good point because if you actually look at their transfer dealings in the summer, they did strengthen in areas that they needed strengthening.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if you speak to some of United fans, where did they need Sancho? I'm not sure. They needed a centre half because I'm tired of hearing United fans moaning about Lindelof and moaning about Bailly, and they're not even convinced about Maguire. So you don't like any of your centre backs. So who do you want to play there? Wan-Bissaka's not good going forward, but they kind of knew that anyway. But yeah, I wasn't. I was surprised, and I was surprised they actually decided they got rid of him now. I know Arsenal fans have been moaning, he could have waited like a few more weeks. And listen, irrespective, Oli, Mourinho, listen, we'll deal with them when it comes to it because we haven't got a very good record there anyway. I know we won there last season, but our record there is horrendous, to be honest with you. But yeah, you know what? For the players United have got, I expected a title challenge this season. Yeah. It's not going to happen. So they've made the right decision in the end.
No, definitely. I mean, I think I was watching Merson on the Soccer AM, and he turned around and said something to the effect of, when have you last looked at Man United and said they've got a midfield that could actually win something? I mean, true. I've actually had to sit and think about that, and I actually laugh because he's right. I mean, I don't remember at all. I think I'd have to go back to the days of Skulls.
I just think with the United team, though, it's like, to be honest, like I look at that team on paper, and I think they've got a good squad. Yeah. I honestly do think they've got a good squad, and I think I put up a tweet the other day, and it was about Zizou. It was about Zidane, and I just said, Zizou, don't do it. And it's not necessarily that I massively rate Zinedine Zidane as a manager. I know he won 11 trophies, I think, in 5 seasons, 3 back-to-back Champions Leagues. But, there's a lot of context to that in terms of the team he inherited, in terms of the resources he had, etc. But for me, Zidane is just like one of my all-time favorite players. That's a non-Arsenal player. So I don't really want him to be affiliated with the United club or the United job at all. That's just a me thing. But I think if you were a manager out there and you were thinking about your potential future, maybe the next step in your career, I think the United job would be a tempting, place to go. Because when you look at the amount of money that's been invested in that squad, and Manchester United as a club will continue to invest, if they see fit on players, I don't see why a top manager wouldn't look at that club and say, you know what, they finished the league, they finished second last season. They've gone on and got probably arguably the best player in the world, if not one of 2 of the best players in the world. They've signed Sancho, who's added to the already array of attacking talents that they have. And they've supposedly bought a world-class centre-back. So I'm not sure. I know like we're all kind of bantering United at the moment, but when I look at that team and I look at the likes of, Cavani, Rashford, Pogba, Fernandes, Varane, De Gea, I'm like, they have, for me, in my opinion, a really good squad. And I honestly feel as though, like, Ole just wasn't getting the best out of them eventually. I think he did really well last season to finish second in the league. But this season, for whatever reason, it just wasn't happening. But yeah, I don't think they're going to struggle to attract a top-name manager, in my opinion.
He definitely wasn't getting the best out of him. I mean, them comments from David De Gea after the game, I was dumbfounded. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I mean, that wasn't lost in translation. I'm thinking, no, you've basically said your manager's not getting the best out of you, or you don't know what you're doing. That's shocking for a club of that standard, and a goalkeeper's been there for the amount of years he's been there, and to come out and say what he said, it was damning. It was very, very damning.
But isn't it? I'm going to actually throw this wild card in. I wasn't going to say this, but isn't it something similar to what Lacazette said at the West Ham game, though? Isn't it just as bad?
I thought that was worse, what he said, De Gea. It was 100% worse. I'm not saying what Lacazette said was great, because it wasn't. But, yeah, what De Gea said, man, just even listening to it at the time, I said, wow. You're saying that after a defeat against Watford. It's not good. So, off the back of that, then you can't be surprised Solskjaer went. But yeah, it was stunning to hear that.
Yeah, when you look at that squad, like, you know, like I said, for me, you know, people might disagree with me, but I look at that squad and I see the foundations of a very strong team. But the other thing to be said about that team as well is that you've got some real, you know, experienced pros. You know, you've got the likes of Cavani, who's been around for God knows however long. You've got Ronaldo, and personalities like that, characters like that, they need to be managed well. And I'm just not sure if Ollie holds the amount of clout or respect, you know, to deal with those type of players. Because no disrespect to him, you know, his previous experience was, you know, managing Molde and Cardiff. You know, now I know he has that legendary, you know, status within the club, but in terms of a manager in the dressing room, I'm just not sure he could really kind of, you know, I think if the likes of Ronaldo and Cavani are showing him respect, it's more out of politeness than anything else. And I just think when you have really experienced players like that, you know, when you're a player like Ronaldo, it comes with a certain level of ego and arrogance and confidence. And I think you have to have a lot about you as a manager to be able to kind of manage that. And I just don't think he definitely wasn't the right man for the job now. You know, I think when he took over the role at United, I think they made progress. I think finishing second in the league last season was really good progress, but he's just not managed to maintain it or better it. So I think he was always going to go. And I think probably losing 4-1 to Watford, you know, given where they are in the league, I think that was just probably the final nail in the coffin. But the damage was already done before the Watford game. You know, when they lost 5-0 and then, you know, they lost in Europe.
4-0 at half time against Liverpool.
Yeah,
at home.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So I think that was the turning point for me for that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, let's see who we've got in the comments this evening before we move on to our next thing. Calvin Crane's in the building. Evening, Calvin. And that intro is how he did 29 in that game. Got Neil in the building. Neil, I do apologise. I'm not going to be able to pronounce your last name, but afternoon. People Florida. From Coconut Creek in Florida. Oh, we've got someone else in Florida joining us, apart from Antonio, which is fantastic. Welcome. Great show last evening with Jake Albert.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you, mate.
And Ben Binkosi. He's finished above Arsenal for the past 2 seasons. So I said, well, we haven't had the best seasons, but he still hasn't beaten us. That was my point. And of course, one of my favourites is in the building. Yes, Keith at Mostly Arsenal. Evening, everybody. Okay, that's all of them for the moment. So next, so at midday today, Fabrizio was back on his tweets again, as usual, with the Arsenal transfers, with the window coming up. And he's got some information from L'Equipe about Renato Sanchez. He's made comments. Maybe AC Milan and Arsenal are interested, but I don't know. I've spoken to my agent. I know which clubs are calling me, but I can't say right now. But I know I'm ready. If an offer comes in, I'll find out what's best for me. Is that a bit cryptic, or is it just me? Albert?
The thing is, again, he's another name that's been touted. I don't know how strong the connection is. He's sort of, I think the first time I come across Renato Sanchez was Euro 2016. And then he was thought of very, very highly. The rumors about going to Bayern Munich, and then you could argue say he's fallen off a cliff since then. I mean, even one of the periods he was on loan at Swansea.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, how did Swansea manage to pull that off? But and I've seen a lot of people tweet talking about, I think he'd be a snip and we should get him. And I'm not sure. I think personally, I probably need to see more of him and see how he's actually been playing. Firstly, the problem, I don't know how old he is. I can't. So forgive me for that. But the problem with a lot of players that get linked to Arsenal, particularly midfield or attacking players or creative players, is we seem to get linked with them when their careers are at crossroads. So that's my biggest concern.
Yeah.
Because, like, listen, if he came to Arsenal for argument's sake and improved us and gave us the creative spark that we needed, then fantastic. But again, because, like I said, when we're linked with players that are not past their best, but at a crossroads in their career, that's always a concern for me, to be honest.
G, do you think he'd be the right fit at Arsenal at all?
You know what it is? It's a really hard one because, like, my opinion of our midfield is not great. You know, when I look at our midfield, you know, as an area of the squad, you know, I have very high ambitions for Partey. You know, I was thrilled when we triggered the release clause and got him from Atletico Madrid. And even though, this season we've seen more of Partey, amidst all the injuries and stuff, I still don't feel like we've got the Partey that we believed we were buying yet. And then when I look at the other midfield options, Sambi's come in, he's doing really, really well. And I know that he came under some criticism with regards to his performance against Liverpool, which we'll go into. But I said this from when we bought him. I didn't know who he was. I've said it since he's been in the team. And I've said this even about some of the youngsters that have always done well. And I've always said, as much as I love the fact that they are doing well, as much as they're in the team and it's great, at the same time, we're too heavily reliant on these youngsters. And I feel that the role of these youngsters in the team should be one of support rather than actually playing week in, week out. Like, they should be supporting the first team rather than actually, playing every single match. So when I look at our midfield, it's weak. Like, for me, it's an area that really needs strengthening. You've got Ainsley that wants to play there, doesn't want to play there. You got Xhaka, who completely splits the fan base. I'm not his biggest fan. El Nene, even less so a fan of El Nene in terms of his quality. So if we were to buy Renato Sanchez, would he improve our midfield? Yes, because what we've got is not very good. But in terms of him, in terms of me as an Arsenal fan saying, is he the type of player I want us to sign? Probably not, because I have to agree with Albert. For me, it's very similar to it kind of gives me Odegaard vibes, because I'm not convinced by him yet either. I have to be honest, and I just feel like Renato Sanchez is at a crossroads of his career. He very similarly to Odegaard in that he burst on the scene as a teenager. He was the world of football was just absolutely amazed by him, and he was set to have this amazing football career, and it's not quite worked out. Is he a good player? Yes. Does he have a potential to be a world-class player? Yes. Is he on the way to it? Who knows? We really don't know. There's just not, whether it's injuries, whether he's not settled at club, whether it's inconsistency in his performances, but for whatever reason, it's not working out. And if we sign Renato Sanchez, as much as on his day he's a good player, there is a big risk involved, massive risk involved for me.
No, I totally agree. I mean, he's still only 24.
Yeah.
And again, I think our age average is something like 22 years or something. I can't remember the exact, but I remember seeing at the beginning of the season, and we are the youngest team, but even on average as well. Another one that we've been linked to quite recently, I've seen doing the rounds on Twitter, is the links to Isaac at Real Sociedad. I mean, do you think he's something that we need right now, Jay?
Well, we need to sort out the striking situation, that's for sure. I think all Arsenal fans we're pretty happy, even though we weren't, with regards the goalkeeping situation, and we starting to see that the defense take shape. Midfield is an area we need to improve on, but up front we've got issues. Let's not beat around the bush. Balogun has signed a contract, but he's not ready for first team football at Arsenal. Eddie is on his way out. He's not signed a new contract, so he's a free agent. Come January, he can already speak to other clubs. Lacazette is in a similar position with his contract. I think Arsenal could potentially offer him maybe a 1-year deal, but I think he'll be probably reluctant to even sign that. And then we've got Aubameyang, who, there definitely has been an increase in his performances from last season. But then saying that, he's not the player that we bought 2-3 seasons ago. I think all Arsenal fans can rationally look at that and see that he's not the Aubameyang that we signed from Dortmund, where he was scoring and firing on all cylinders. And I think most of us are happy to come to terms with that, as long as we see some effort and some fight in his performances, because every player is going to get to a certain age and their game may start to decline. As long as we see the effort and we see the fight, then I think we'll be pretty happy with his performances. But the striking situation is a real concern. We've got Martinelli kind of on the cusp of the first team, but not really getting many minutes. Is he a winger? Is he a striker? I don't think even Arteta knows, where his best position is. So really and truly, we lack goals, and we're lacking goals up front. If you look at all the goals scored by our strikers, it's not impressive, and the futures of all our strikers are kind of in doubt. So I think we do need a new frontman. And in terms of who's available, I didn't know much about this kid, but I watched him at the Euros. He was really, really good. Got bags of potential. I looked into some of his stats. In La Liga, he's hitting 18, 20 goals around that, a season. But again, it's a tough one, because I think with everything, it's a risk, and my only reservation is it's with him is, one, how much is he going to cost? 2, are we going to be able to attract him? I think that more or less depends on how we do and where we finish this season. And 3, we're buying potential. We're not necessarily buying a player that is going to get us 20 plus goals a season guaranteed. We're buying potential. He's coming in, he'll get some goals. Whether or not he will be the forward to get us 20, 25 goals a season consistently, we don't know, because he's not yet doing that. He's still quite young. So he's a quality player, and trust me, if we bought him, I'd be happy, because it would be showing real intent and ambition. But at the same time, there are certain reservations that I do have about a potential transfer.
The other one that we that is meant to be apparently in the priority is Vlahovic. I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah, Vlahovic. Yeah.
Thank you, Alf. Yeah. I knew you'd be able to pronounce that. Do you think he'd be a good fit for Arsenal at all, as a striker, with Lacazette possibly going out the door?
Well, if reports are true, but Newcastle's interested apparently in it as well.
Yeah, they're also after him. They're ready to lay out 70 million for him. But can you see him leaving Fiorentina in Serie A for Newcastle? Honestly,
I can see him leaving Fiorentina. Whether he comes to the Premier League is another thing. Like G said, and to be honest, it's been a concern of mine for quite a while. To be honest, our inability to score goals. I've spoken about it before in terms of, if you actually look at Arsenal's goals for and against, it's funny because our goals scored has gone down, but obviously we're conceding less, but we still finished 8th 2 seasons in a row. So the thing is, I hear a lot of people talk about in terms of our attacking style, but we've got a big problem because Lacazette's not going to stay. I said that before. I'll be shocked if he's here come next season. Balogun needs a loan. That's pretty obvious. Eddie's not going to be here, and so from having, Lacazette and Aubameyang as, your main go-to guys, even though we're playing in a team that's not scoring a lot of goals, we've got a huge problem because with Aubameyang, I don't know where this goes, because I know people talk about the attacking stats, for example, but sometimes I think to myself, maybe it's him a little bit. You can sit there and you can criticize Arteta to the cows come home, for example, but I look at him play and I just think you look a shadow of the player. You can put a lot of that down to tactics, obviously, but going back, still, I don't want to sort of go to a tangent, but in terms of Vlahovic, I hear very good things about him. Again, I need to see more of him before I'll have a really, really informed opinion about him. The same with Isak as well. Like G said, you're buying potential. And if the money they're talking about for Isak and Vlahovic, even if Arsenal had the best window selling players, you're not going to recuperate a lot of money for the players that we need to get rid of in order to probably bag one of these two. Maybe not even one of these two, just striker. But we've got some big problems, man, because Aubameyang's not he's not the striker of yesteryear, man. He's not 24, 25. Lacazette's not been the prolific goal scorer we thought he was going to be. And at the moment, he doesn't look like scoring. Aubameyang doesn't look like scoring, and they're both in the side. So it's a tough one, Lottie. I mean, our big concerns, man. Big concerns. I'm looking at our attacking stats. I mean, we are low down in the Premier League rankings for a lot of them. Goals scored, open play goals is horrendous. I think we're 19th. And I don't get me wrong. I think a lot of it has to be in terms of tactics, but people wanted Aubameyang playing down the middle. He's playing down the middle, but he's consistently playing poor. It's not the odd game here and there. He's consistently playing poor, and that's a big concern.
No, definitely. I mean, I know we're still hanging on to 5th at the minute, but stats don't paint pretty pictures all the time. So you're not wrong there at all.
They don't.
Not there at all. But they also do paint pretty pictures. But when it looks bad, I have to admit, it does always look better on paper. All right, let's have a look at these comments. To be fair, he's been pretty decent for Lille. I'm assuming that's around Sanchez.
Yeah.
Then been Cozy again. I think we need a defensive midfielder like N'Golo. I'm assuming that's Kante.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never remember his first name. What do you think of that?
I think the problem. This is the problem. This is what happens when you don't move players on, and you miss out on certain other players. So I didn't have a problem bringing in Erdegaard, but I said if you're going to bring him in, I want Basuma to come in with him. Basuma was gettable. I don't know in terms of what Brighton probably wanted for him. I don't think it would have crippled Arsenal, to be honest with you, if they'd have done the negotiations and moved on certain players. But from the minute we kept Granit Xhaka, the Basuma deal wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen, and that's a big issue for me. Because he's exactly. Don't get me wrong. Basuma's not the only one. Listen, there's midfield players out there in Europe that can come to Arsenal and do more than a good job. You've got Kamara at Marseille. You've got Alvarez at Ajax. You've got Basuma at Brighton. You've got Zakaria at Mönchengladbach. There's ballers out there, Lottie. There's players out there. We need to bury the Xhaka thing, but unfortunately, Arteta's firmly in this guy's camp, and that's why he's still here.
Yeah. Well, most people know my feelings on 34, so I'm not going to add to that, I'm afraid, House. I just can't. All right. Then Benkosi again. Our average age is 25 years old. Okay, I thought it was a bit lower than that, but thank you for that. The poor attacking tactics are making him look poor.
I think he's referring to the tactics and Aubameyang. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the thing, Lottie. So. I get that argument. I do get it. But as I said before, you have to kind of sometimes strip it back and look at the individual player in terms of what they're giving to the team and individual responsibility. And there's too many games where he's too poor. It's not the odd game where he's had a bad game. There's a lot of bad. There's a lot of games he's not playing well. Yes, you can attribute the tactics to that. Of course you can, but sometimes you have to look at the individual as well. I think Lottie's frozen. She's frozen.
Yeah. I think Lottie's frozen still.
Yeah, she is.
I was thinking she's quiet. I'll go through some of the comments. But just touching on that one there about the poor attacking tactics. Yeah, we can hear you, Lottie, but I think you're moving now.
Yeah, you're moving now. You're moving.
Yeah. I'm moving.
I was just gonna touch upon that.
I didn't know if you could hear me. I was gonna say I did. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, that's one thing with regard to Arsenal I've been very critical of this season, and that is to do with, our lack of, offensive play, and not being able to kind of break teams down. And I think, if we take the Liverpool performance out of sight at the moment, the last couple of games, we've been scoring some goals, and I think the performances have been better, but I was very critical of that. When I look back to the, game against Brentford, Norwich, Burnley, some of these games we even won, but the performance was poor. Like for me, we just seem to be, lacking a real kind of slickness or cutting edge in these games, particularly when we're going forward. I can see the progression with the defense, but I'm still yet to be fully convinced by what we're doing, moving the ball forward in terms of an attacking sense. But do you know what I mean? It's like, I think sometimes, when results are starting to go our way, and, we were just on a 10-game unbeaten run. Sometimes you can kind of like, forget about those things. They can kind of get lost in transition, because ultimately as fans, we want to be winning games and we want to be picking up points. And as long as we're winning games and we're picking up points, we're not too fussed. It then comes back into the kind of eye line when the results in the games, a game like Liverpool, then all of a sudden we start conversing about the stuff that was bothering us before. But yeah, I'm not entirely convinced about us as an attacking unit. I just think there are a lot of things that are wrong. Strikers are not firing. We don't seem to be able to put through patterns of play, where we can break down the opposition, and too much reliance on Smith Rowe and Saka.
Yeah, that's a problem.
If Smith Rowe and Saka don't score or assist, no one else does, and that's a massive issue. Because these boys are great youngsters, but it's just too much. It's too much pressure on them. Too much.
No, definitely, especially when they're getting their England call-ups as well. I think that's just way too much. Right, next one, Calvin. Oba is better, but he set the bar low. But again, we're not getting him enough chances. I wonder where we'd be without Emil. I dread to think.
Just said, yeah.
But that's the thing. There's going to be game. This is the thing, Lottie. There's as strikers, there's not going to be many games, irrespective of quality of opposition. But obviously, if you're playing the bigger teams away from home, you might only get one chance. You got one chance on Saturday. I thought it was a poor effort at goal, personally. But
I'll come to that, Alves. Hold fire on that.
Yeah,
we will come to that soon. Then Benkosi, I heard that Real Station may want around 80 million for Isaac. Okay,
they're not going to get that. Whoever gets him,
no,
that's crazy amount of money.
The thing is, right? I think that's more like City, PSG price tags. I don't think he'll go there at all.
Yeah,
I don't think they're looking at him.
They won't get that for him. They won't get that for him.
Yeah. Oh, Ryan's in the building.
Yes, RJ, get better soon, bro.
Yes, Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan, get better soon. Glad to see you in the chat. Ryan, sorry I'm late. Oh, Stu's in the house as well. I know Stu from the football. Welcome. Stu, make sure you've subscribed, because I think this is one of the first times I've actually seen you in the chat, mate. Ryan has said 14th.
Yeah, that's for goals. That's where we rank in the Premier League for goals scored. Poor, very poor. Wow. Very poor. Yeah,
that's appalling, especially for Arsenal.
Yeah,
Ryan, we won't be 5th by the end of December. Do you know what? Just see how it goes.
Yeah. We've got Everton and United away in December, innit?
Yeah, well,
in the space of 4 days.
Everton are not doing great at the moment.
They're not. They've just lost Amari Gray as well.
Yeah, they've not got a single. I don't think they've got a win in 6.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
Yeah, they got injuries galore though.
Yeah, no, I mean, what's his name?
Yeah, no Calvert-Lewin, no Richarlison.
Yeah,
they got injuries.
Calvert-Lewin's become a model, but he's not playing football anymore.
Have you gone robotic again?
The advertisements I've seen him in. Gee, did that change on your screen? Yeah, it did.
A little bit. I don't know. I think it's back.
I'm moving on the screen. It's fine. I froze again. We are the Arsenal. I'm assuming is that JC?
Yeah, that is.
I'm guessing it's JC. I haven't. Welcome to the chat, JC. Nice to see you. Evening, people. I'm also late. Me and RJ are sneaking in, but we see you. You can't sneak past me. You cannot. RJ, I think we need more Basuma at this rate, Albert.
Yeah, well, you know what? The board went and bought in what's his name, Erdegaard. I generally don't think he was the number one option. I really don't. I know they say Arteta likes him and he brings a lot to the party, but I generally don't think Erdegaard was number one choice. Absolutely not.
No, I do apologise. I missed that. I dropped out again.
That's all right.
I dropped out again. Got Ryan Frank Kessie is
Kessie's another one. He's been spoken about before, for AC Milan. I think is he AC Milan G still? Is he?
Yeah, AC Milan. I think he's Ghanaian international, isn't he? Kessie?
Yeah.
He's a decent player, man. He's a decent player. Do you know what I mean? He's one of those like, forces in the midfield. Do you know what I mean? He picks up everything. He's got. Look, if you look at him from a attributes. He looks as though he's got all the physical attributes.
100%.
For the Premier League. He's big, he's strong. He puts in dominant midfield performances. So, he looks the part. Do you know what I mean? So, he definitely would be an option. Definitely.
No, I think I'm going to have to look that one up. I'm afraid. I'm not sure who he is. That sounds really bad coming from me.
Good player.
I'm normally quite on the ball with rumours, but. JC, do you think sideways and Partey? We're also losing Pepe and Aubameyang, that's like at least 75% of our spine, as G would put it.
The thing is, even with or without AFCON, January is a tough market to purchase anyway. It's a very tough market to purchase. A market that we're not very good at, if I'm being honest with you, but. Possibly. But yeah, it's a tough market either way, AFCON or not.
No, do you know what? For me, I think it is a big factor. I mean, we lose 3/4 of our spine, as I just said, from Boxing Day till the beginning of February. That's a long time, and we can't expect them to come back and go straight into the fold, especially when they're key players. But knowing us, it'll happen. Keith, to JC, tut. Glad to see Keith's on my side. Right, Ryan saying, "Hey Keith, how you doing?" JC laughing his head off, and Stu telling me he is already subscribed. I love things I love to see, Stu. Thank you.
Well done.
Tim Binkosi, do you think that's the reason we did not go for Basuma?
Well, Basuma's is he Mali international? Is he?
I think he's from Mali, yeah.
Yeah, I believe he is. Thing is,
Let me look.
Did they qualify for the AFCON though?
I don't know,
Yeah, that's the double check. People in the chat, let us know, man.
Yeah, that's a good shout. But...
Yeah, he's Malian, definitely. Yeah, I see it here.
Keith, good, my friend. How's things with you, mate? All right, they're having a good chat.
They are having a good chat.
Yeah, so I'm just sorry, guys. I'm skipping over that. Ryan.
Yeah, Mali are in the AFCON 2020.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Kessie's from the Ivory Coast as well.
Oh, he's from Ivory Coast.
Okay.
He's
Brick.
a brick.
He's
He a brick.
Right, Kessie, yeah.
One of my favourites is in the building, Carrie. Good evening,
Go on,
Lottie G
Gary.
and Albert, all the way from the US.
That's it, man.
Ben Bennett, another one that's late.
Go on, Ben.
Ben, I'm disappointed. I know you were up the game yesterday, but you're late. Gary saying hi to the chat room. Gary, last January we got what Arteta wanted: Matty, Ryan, and Odegaard. That is true. So all is possible. All is completely possible. Timbakosi, yes, they did. Ryan, we need a defensive midfielder badly, and do we sell Ainsley Maitland-Niles in January? And I keep hearing links to him to be in Everton in January.
I don't think that'll happen.
No, I don't think it will happen either, because
I think
how
there was an
thin
issue
on the ground we are.
There was an issue why it didn't materialize before. I don't think Arsenal were too keen. Send him to Everton. To be honest with you, I think that might have been the reason why.
Yeah. I can't see him going to Everton, like particularly like Lottie said. I think whatever reason it broke down in the first place, but two, just given the situation in our midfield, really and truly, if we sell Ainsley in the January market, then that will give us an indication that we must be bringing in one, if not two, centre mids. But I just can't see it.
No, definitely. I mean, we kind of robbed them for Iwobi's price tag, didn't we? I mean, he hasn't really done anything.
35 million or 40 million, that was madness.
Yeah, to get the money we got for him, that's crazy.
Yeah, whoever signed that deal or whatever, and probably out of a job.
We're JC, big up RJ, Keith, and Gary in the chat. Oh, Tom's arrived. Evening all. I'm here in the background. It's interesting chat tonight. When I hear you people talking, it's quite worrying about the strike force and who we're going to get when next summer comes.
It is worrying.
He's got 2 windows. Do you think he could do it at all, Albert? Get the right players in, possibly.
Not in January.
We're starting to see something. I said over 2 windows in the summer, including the summer. Do you think he could do it?
The summer, I'd be more inclined to agree with. The January it's a difficult window. I'm not saying business can't be done; it can be done. It just depends whether Edu and Arteta, if they've been planning well enough. What they've been cooking. It depends what they've been cooking up, Lottie. That's what it comes down to.
That's true.
Because when you think about, like, I know somebody put in the chat, for apologies, I forgot the name, but somebody put in the chat that we got, Arteta got what he wanted in Matty, Ryan, and Odegaard. Yeah, but they were just filling a gap. Do you know what I mean? They weren't really kind of long term, signings. Yeah. Matty Ryan was brought in because we were short at goalkeeping, and Odegaard was basically brought in to cover for Smith Rowe, who was basically on the verge of burnout. So that's why we got them. Do you know what I mean? And that's one of the reasons why I'm not a massive fan. Like, I do get it. You got to manage your squad. I get it. You got to bring players in on loan. It is useful. It's about bodies at times, but that's why the January window for me, I'm never too massively excited about, because loan signings, they're just to kind of see you get through to the end of the season. And signings in January very, 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 very seldom make much of an impact on your season. Because by the time they actually come in, settle in, season's done. It's like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, definitely. Got Calvin. I don't think City will come for. But anyone hear those whispers? If they did cash in, would you cash in, Jay, Albert?
Well, we definitely can't call Man City our rivals because they're a million miles ahead. But I don't know. I haven't heard that whisper, to be honest.
It was about in the summer. It was about in the summer, but I've heard nothing since.
No, I wouldn't sell him, just for the simple reason you can only sell Aubameyang in January if you have a ready-made transfer lined up.
And Arsenal haven't, trust me.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't. Can you imagine selling Aubameyang and then having no one come in?
Oh my god, the fan base would. Oh,
Can you imagine?
They would
Even the
lose
sensible
it.
ones would have a meltdown.
Yeah, they would lose.
I know
it.
I would.
So I personally can't see it because I can't see Arsenal going for a big money move for a striker in January, and plus I can't see many other teams letting their main target man leave in January because they've got their own aspirations.
Yeah.
In terms of their season, so I think the big money deals for Arsenal are going to be in the summer. So I'd be gobsmacked if we entertain any offers for Aubameyang.
Yeah, that's
January.
true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ben is nursing a sore throat. I've seen all the videos, Ben. I know how much you were singing yesterday, and I'm pretty sure we all heard the away fans yesterday, didn't we, guys? Gee, I know you missed some of the game, but Albert, did you hear the away fans yesterday watching the game?
I didn't. No.
Really?
Yeah.
You must have been enjoying Carragher's voice. A little bit too much.
No.
Got Cannon FC, big up Cannon Chat TV. Welcome. Is that a new name, G? Cannon FC? I believe so.
Yeah.
Welcome to the channel, Cannon FC.
Mm.
Ryan, what's the one transferred? What's the one transfer? Let me start that again. What's the one transfer we need to sell in the summer? Pepe for me. How about you guys? 34, hands down.
I would take out the one and put transfers.
Yeah.
There's bigger problems than Nicolas Pepe. Arsenal, trust me.
Yeah. Okay, if you had to choose one, Albert. G, I have a thing. I'll come to you in a sec.
So if there was one,
yeah, if you could just choose one to get rid of.
God, this is quite a list of them.
No,
I would
take off the ones that can go for free in July.
No, it'd be Granit Xhaka. I get why Ryan said Pepe because I think a lot of people have their patience has run out. Yeah, but yeah, I feel like I said, I think there's bigger problems than him. Arsenal Football Club in terms of playing style and recruitment.
Jay?
Yeah, it's got to be Granit, just because I think he's a player that I'm not convinced. You know what I mean? He's a player I don't particularly like. I'm not a huge fan of, and he in terms of like his wages and his kind of presence in the team. It's like he's kind of taking the spot of a kind of like for like midfielder. So I just feel as though if we manage like what Albert said earlier in the stream, I think us getting a defensive midfielder or central midfielder of that mold of the Basuma or Neves or something like that, that was based on Granit's future. Because as soon as it came out that he wasn't going to Roma and he was signing a new contract, all rumors of any other midfielder coming in just died. So he's definitely the key to reinforcing the midfield. Yeah. So yeah, if I could choose one, it would be Granit.
Yeah, no, I think that's unanimous now. Jamie, for years we needed goals from midfield. Now we have them at the moment. The main tactics is KT whipping in it Beck style. Gone are the days of quick counters and infamous cutback goals.
Well, I thought the thing is, when I look at, I've mentioned this before, when I look at the way, for example, West Ham have played this season, I expected us to play like that. They've got listen, and the thing is, it's a question to sort of ask Arsenal fans really, because people say, for example, we played Liverpool, we're probably going to touch on it. The likes of Brentford, the likes of who's the other teams again? Brighton played better against them. So why are Arsenal not able to do that? Now people turn around and say they go, but it's Arteta's not experienced and whatever. I'm like, I hear that, but I'm talking, if you're talking about in terms of playing style, why are these teams playing better than Arsenal against Liverpool? I'll take into consideration the West Ham game was at the West Ham ground, but Brighton played well against them. Brighton and Brentford played well against Liverpool. Why was they able to play better than we was able to do? I don't know.
But couldn't be one of the factors be the fact that Brighton have been playing together for nearly 3 seasons now? Potter's been there, I believe. Might be wrong. And he's been building something down there.
Yeah, I'll take the point with Graham Potter's been there a few seasons. Then people might argue with Brentford, and then you might argue Thomas Frank because he is experienced inverted commas, but not in the Premier League, isn't. They was fantastic against Liverpool. Yes, they was at home, but even so, I'm sure. I don't know what Liverpool first 11 was that day, but Brighton played well against them at Anfield. I'm not saying Arsenal should go to Anfield and play Harlem Globetrotters football, but with the players we have at our disposal. Listen, Arsenal fans, tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think any Arsenal player was injured to play that in that Liverpool game, whether there's on the bench or in the starting 11. So I don't know. People might again look at Arteta again. I don't know. But these teams are able to play better football than us, and that's not just against Liverpool. That's just how they played this season. Why? I don't know why. Arteta.
That's an opinion that I've had, man. Like literally throughout the season, I said it so many times. Like I just, when I look at, and this is one of the things. Like I've kind of come to a point now where I'm kind of like, with regards to Arteta and Arsenal, I'm kind of happy to just sit back and see how this season is going to unfold, because it's like I'm not convinced by him. I'm happy we went on this 10 game unbeaten run. I am happy that we're fifth, because for me, regardless of what everybody else expects, I've come to terms where we are as a club. And I feel realistically, when I look at the league table and I look at the teams that are in there, for me, your Chelsea, your City, and your Liverpool. And I also thought United at the beginning of the season, I thought those four were out of our league. And for me, I was like, for us to actually deem this Premier League season to be a success, we need to be finishing either fifth or sixth, because those are the two positions for me that are up for grabs, because the top four is not. However, the way the season has started, obviously Chelsea have not failed to deliver. City haven't, Liverpool haven't, but United have, in terms of my expectations of their squad and where they are. So now, for me, realistically, Arteta has to finish fourth, fifth, or sixth for it to be for us to then say, okay, well, he's pushed on from 2 back-to-back, finishing eighth. And when going back to what you said, Albert, when I look at teams like West Ham, Leicester, Brighton, these teams, as far as I'm concerned, do not have a better squad than us. So when I look at West Ham in third position in the league, okay, we can put all the context of, Moyes' experience, but would I want Moyes at Arsenal? No. You can look and say, oh, but, they're a group of players that have been together for a long period of time. But how many of those West Ham players would I take to bench our squad? There's very few now. At the moment, I'd say, I'd take Antonio and I'd probably bench Aubameyang right now. But what I'm saying is that there are very few players in the squads of West Ham and Leicester and Brighton, in my opinion, that would get into the Arsenal squad. So it's like, my argument is, and I know me and Lottie had this kind of disagreement on one of our streams, was about Brighton, and I get all what people might be saying about Brighton and what Potter's building and so forth. But as far as I'm concerned, none of those Brighton players get into Arsenal's first team. So for me, how can Brighton be playing better and more attractive football than Arsenal? Like,
that's a fair question. Yeah, it's a plausible question.
For me, there's a problem there. There's a real issue there, because I know. When we did play Brighton, was it 0-0 or it ended up in
0-0,
or whatever it was, and I was disgusted by that performance. That I was at the time, because I was just like, they played us off the park. And people were like, oh, but it was a fair game and we got a good result and Brighton have beaten this team, so the point's not half bad. But I'm just like, bro, I watched that game, and when I watched that game, we weren't. They were the better side. You know, we were fortunate, you know, to get something from it. But so I've kind of got to the point now where at the moment, after 12 games, he is performing to what I would expect. I'm not entirely happy with how we've performed, but at the end of the day, he's fifth. And I've kind of just decided, you know what? I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to see how the season goes. And if he manages to get Arsenal to finish between 4th and 6th, I would consider that Premier League wise a good return in terms of where we are as a club. And then next season we will need to push on. But for this season, realistically, I can't see us finishing any higher than 4th, and we should not finish any lower than 6th. That's my opinion.
No, totally with you. I'm just going to speed through these comments because they are coming in thick and fast. I'm just watching them pop up as you were talking, Jay. And it's absolutely jumping in there tonight. Tom, I guess next summer comes down to who we ship out and how much for and where we finish in the league. But that's just me talking not so proper, pretty obvious at this point. We just need a 200 million war chest. Tom, you never talk nonsense. You tend to talk more sense than me when we have our conversations about football. Stu, if we did not go for a big money move for a forward, we're opening the door for Martinelli, as the guy needs some game time. Yeah, I still don't think Arteta knows what to do with him personally. 200 million needed, yes, from Calvin. Ben, only plus side on the league front. January that has 2 FA Cup rounds, a couple of good draws, and hopefully a normal squad depth will be used. Ben again, honestly, feel a striker is a must in January. Not enough firepower.
Yeah.
Once again, over non-existent in the away game against the top side. I've got to admit he was non-existent for most of that game.
He's had many games like that. Many games.
Yeah, but he's around for the smaller games, but it's the big games. He doesn't turn up when we need. We need him. Here, Ben.
Yeah.
Fire. Can't even type now as well as not speak. Oh dear. Thebikosi. Pepe has not given a chance. Remember that last season he had most goals and assists combined. People are too harsh on him. There is a player in there. Ryan, no, it's true. I want 34 gone, but I know this damn club. 34 of Pepe, please go. 34 and Pepe can both go. He's changed his mind. Calvin, I'd keep Pepe for now and forget that we paid and just think of him as a 30 million player. Gary, summer out going to have to be number 2, 34 in brackets, dreaming. Pepe, Nelson, Torreira, Renarson, even Guendouzi. Still a lot to do. The thing is, Guendouzi's already going. He's got his clause on his loan, hasn't he?
Bar Marseille getting relegated, he's going. And they're not getting relegated, so he's gone for 11 mil.
No. Yeah. Ryan, it's down to Mikel, but I'm a sit and see what happens, and I've come to terms where we are. G, could you just continue the comments for me for a sec, please?
Yeah, no worries.
Cheers.
So we've got Pepe isn't doing what's necessary to be here, and Arteta isn't going to cater to these positives. Guendouzi, I just love to have him to come back. He's very mature, but his skills we need. I'm saying that's the kind of player we're missing. Calvin again, Cazorla, Merson, Fab, etc. Ben, we're still a young side. Tavares, Lokonga, Saturday is a massive learning curve. Only benefit from mistakes on a stage like that. We're heading in the right direction. Liverpool upped their game. Cannon FC, Arteta may not be the manager to take us forward, but he is our manager at the moment. We do have a real chance of making top 4. West Ham next 3 games in the Prem should put us in that. Should boost the boys. Ryan again, Cucurella, Basuma would get in our team. G, let's not cap. Basuma would. Cucurella's
good, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's good, but I'm not too sure. Would Cucurella be in. Is Cucurella a better player than KT or Tavares? I don't know. I don't know. I think he might look a lot good. He might look good because he's at Brighton, but I'm not too sure. Pepe is scoring and assisting. Let's go through these. Liverpool had to work hard the first 30. I don't think they could have kept that up past 60, but alas, we got a goal down after this elbow incident. Right, we've got Balogun has just nicked a winner against Blackburn in under 23's 89th minute. Congrats to Balogun. Good evening, Ross. Best bunch on YouTube. Thank you so much. You're too kind. Over and over and over again. Arsenal podcast.
Rich.
Into our team. Lamptey also. Yeah, I think my only reservations with Lamptey is he's not got the best injury record.
Yeah, he got that injury last season. It took a lot longer to get over than I thought it was. Like, wow.
And he's a bit on the small side as well. I quite like Tomiyasu's physical presence, but I've said it before, I don't think he offers a great deal going forward with Tomiyasu, from what I've seen. So I do have my reservations. Ryan here, how long you giving Arteta, guys? For me, if there's no higher than 8th, he can go well. I've said what my expectations are. I'm expecting Arsenal to finish between 4th and 6th. For me, anything less than that without European football, he has to go. What about yourself, Albert, while I ping through some of these?
Yeah, I mean, if you speak to some of our fan base, he can't do any wrong. But yeah, listen, like you said, we've got no European football, so that's less games. The way that other teams' results are going, the top 4 race is wide open.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, at the start of the season, I think I went for Arsenal. I think Arsenal will be lucky to finish in the top 8.
Yeah.
I still sit tight with that, to be honest, to be honest. I do. Results can go either way very, very quickly.
But in terms of just to let you know, Lottie, we've done the comments. But in terms of,
I heard you. Don't worry.
Oh, no worries. But in terms of the, like, obviously Ryan said if he finishes 8th or below, he should go. So I know your prediction, but aside from your prediction, what do you expect? Does that match up to what you're expecting? If that makes sense.
Go on, Lots.
Yeah, no, completely makes sense. I am listening, guys. I do apologize. Yeah, just got a tiny bit sidetracked.
Yeah, no, because with the Ryan comment, he's saying that if we were to finish 8th or below, then he would think Arteta should go. So for me personally, I think if he doesn't finish in the top 6, he should go. So for you, Albert, you've said you could see Arsenal being lucky to finish in the top 8. So what league position would you think would merit Arteta's sacking? So if he actually did finish 8th, which is what you expect, should he go?
I think he's lucky to still be it, to be honest. But yeah, he should go. I mean, listen, we've seen, football, in layman's terms, is a results business. If you're not getting the results, and like I said, we've got no European football, man. It's game time. I mean, I generally don't, I really don't know what it is with some of our fan base, I'll be honest with you, in regards to Arteta, because I don't know if this guy's got some hold over some of the fans, because it's like, not that he can't do no wrong, but open your eyes, man. Like, don't get carried away. Listen, we're only 2 months into the season. Like, we went on the 10-game unbeaten run in all comps. I said it on my fan cam for Lee Judge's TV. The title said it all. I said it was a necessary humbling, and it was, because for some of sections of our fan base, I don't know too many people that said we'd go to Liverpool and win. There were some people that said it, and my simple question was, why? Why are we going to go there? We haven't won this since 2012. Liverpool's a very, very good side. Listen, I'm happy with being 10 games unbeaten, but Liverpool's a different kettle of fish at Anfield. You know what I mean? It's and I think some of the fans got carried away. Yeah,
it is easy to, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and they got a rude awakening on Saturday. Yeah,
it is easy to.
I think that's why there's been so much backlash with that. I mean, I hate going to Anfield. I know what to expect. But it's, as you said, it's a different kind of fish going up there.
It is.
And
It's
actually
just,
trying to be in control.
tough...
And with the team we got, I didn't think we could do it. I thought we'd be lucky to get a draw. I said that in our preview show.
I said 2-2, and I wasn't saying that with great confidence.
Yeah, no, I think I went for 1-1, didn't I, G? 1-1?
Yeah, I think it was 1-1.
I ended up with a 1-1, but, you know,
Because
slightly
you know what it
build a fantasy football points there as well.
Lottie, because you know what it is? I understand the whole thing, like fans get carried away, whatever, but you're just setting yourself up for a fall. If unless you haven't been watching Liverpool for the last 3 years, then as much as we're Arsenal fans, they want the team to do well. Let's be really, really honest. We would have needed a little bit of luck, an unbelievable defensive display. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, we started the game well for the first. Going 1-0 down was a killer. That before 5 minutes before half, it was an absolute killer. And then the second half, the second goal to finish it off. But yeah, I wasn't confident. Liverpool are a very good side, and you know what? It unfortunately we took a hammering.
Well, technically we didn't. We weren't 4-0 down at half time. We was only 1-0 down. So I'm happy with that. You know, after the display in Manchester, 1-0 down at half time, no complaints on my side of things. I mean, some of the things we saw during that first half were just incredible, especially from Ramsdale.
Yeah, if it wasn't for him, Jesus.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's just one of them things where you think, how on earth did he keep that out as a goal? Majority of the time. I mean, there's some of them say they're absolutely impeccable. But we're going to take a short break, and then we'll get into what we're actually here for, which is the Liverpool review. Welcome back to Cannon Chatter TV with myself, Lottie, G Talks Arsenal, and of course Albert J TV.
Yes.
So they're going to get into the game. I mean, we've just been saying none of us were optimistic going up to Anfield, as Albert's just said. Different kettle of fish. I mean, the game didn't start too bad. I mean, both teams had their chances. We had our first real chance at 17 minutes with Saka, crossing from Tomiyasu. But unfortunately, Oxlade-Chamberlain closed him down. Do you think Saka thought he had more time to get that ball in the net, or?
I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I think sometimes when you get, you know, absolutely, you know, spanked, that, you know, there's no other way of really kind of describing it. You know, we were absolutely played off the park over the 90 minutes. But it's easy to kind of look back and say, yeah, you know, the kind of individual errors, you know, Saka is one of those players, you know, he's our Haaland boy. I'm always very reluctant in terms of criticizing them because, and I go back to say again, I feel as though the likes of Saka and Smith Rowe are already performing above and beyond their years, above and beyond what they should do in a team of Arsenal stature. So, yeah, you know, a chance that, you know, probably, you know, should have been put away, but it wasn't. And I just think over the course of the 90 minutes, it wouldn't have made much difference, in my opinion. I think we were just, you know, by far the lesser team out of the two. So in terms of missed opportunities, I know opportunities can change games, but when I look at that performance as a whole and I see two teams, and I see the gulf in quality of football that they produce and the players in certain positions, I find it very difficult to kind of look back and say, you know, oh, you know, Saka should have put it away, or, you know, Ramsdale should have done better with the Mane header, or Tavares shouldn't have lost the ball. You know, had we not gone 2-0 down, you know, we could have come back. Well, I think even if we had scored every chance that we had created, I still think they could have gone on to beat us 12-2. Do you know what I mean? I just think, you know, albeit for, if it wasn't for Ramsdale, I put up a tweet, it would have been a cricket score. So, yeah, personally, the individual misses or errors, not great, but at the same time, I don't think it changed the reflection of the scoreline or the performance really when I look back on it or when I reflect on it.
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that because I was just about to talk about our disallowed goal in the 32nd minute. We had a counter from Smith Rowe and Aubameyang down the left-hand side and around the Liverpool defence and squared off to Lacazette, who actually walked the ball into the net. I mean, Aubameyang was clearly offside. Do you think Aubameyang should have known he was offside for a player of his calibre?
I think listen. I don't expect strikers never to be offside because it happens. But I think that's, to be honest with you, in terms of sort of his performance on Saturday, that's the most time I noticed him when he was offside. I think the problem is, like G's mentioned, and people, Arsenal fans know already, with Saka and ESR, they are our best attacking threats. They are the supply chain. They are the demand. They assist. They've contributed goals recently. But unfortunately, when you snuff out those two, then you've got a big problem. And it's an even bigger problem when you know you're going to Liverpool away and you might not have a lot of possession of the ball. And when you do have it, we were set up to counter-attack, obviously. But it's very difficult to counter-attack when you don't keep the ball very well and your passing is sloppy. When you combine them two things together, you're not going to create a lot of chances. They doubled up on ESR. They doubled up on Saka. There were a couple of occasions where Saka, you could argue decision-making wasn't great in the first half in particular. But Lottie, it's a classic thing is when you don't have possession of the ball, yes, I get it, we're playing Liverpool away, but when you don't have any type of possession, any type of interchange, any type of attacking outlet, you're going to spend a lot of time defending. But to be fair, like I said, we started the game pretty well for the first 30 minutes. I thought Tomiyasu did well against Mane, personally. I thought Ben White and Gabriel did okay. I thought they did okay. And I think, you know what it is? For anyone that wants to question Arsenal defensively, obviously before the Liverpool game, our back unit, the entire Ramsdale and the centre-backs do deserve credit, and the full-backs for keeping quite a few clean sheets, and looking a little bit more resolute and a little bit more resilient. Listen, you come up against the Liverpool side at Anfield with a brilliant front three, by the way. And I actually don't think Diego Jota gets a lot of credit. I think he's an exceptional player. He's got a very good record against Arsenal now as well. But yeah, listen, as well as our defensive unit has done in terms of the two centre-backs in particular, it's a tough gig to keep that attacking threat quiet for 90 minutes. It's difficult. Mane's a top player. Salah's a top player. Jota's a good player. They've got a solid midfield behind them. Like, it's tough, man. So I've seen some of the comments in regards to the likes of Sambi, for example, and Tomiyasu. I got to be honest, I was embarrassed for some of the stuff I was seeing in the chat on a certain channel I went on to. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. But I mean, what are they expecting Arsenal to go up there and do, man? Like I said, we ain't won there since 2012. Our results at Anfield have been horrendous. Yeah. Like, what, you're gonna rip these guys a new one because what, they didn't keep a clean sheet at Anfield? Come on, man. Like, it's like I said, Lottie, to finish off, like I said, when you don't have possession of the ball, or when you do have it, it's what you do with it. And unfortunately, two of our key men got snuffed out. We got doubled up on in terms of Saka and ESR, and we created very, very little, apart from in the second half where Aubameyang hit a very weak shot, personally.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. But I mean, another highlight that was going on, it was when Tomiyasu got fouled in the 33rd minute in front of the dugout. And then Klopp and Arteta decided to have a bit of a physical / verbal exchange. I get the fact that it's Klopp's brand to wind up managers. But gee, are you surprised that more managers haven't reacted in the way that Arteta did when Klopp behaves like that?
Yeah, you know what it is? It's like all successful managers. They carry a certain presence, and they almost become quite intimidating. And it's very much like your Sir Alex Ferguson, for example. And I'm not saying Klopp was or is as successful as Alex Ferguson was or is, but it's just one of those things where Klopp's coming in. Obviously, he's won some major trophies like Premier League, Champions League. His Liverpool side is phenomenal, what they've done over the last couple of seasons. And, he has become almost like, an intimidating figure on a touchline. And I think a lot of managers probably kind of just, in a way, know their place, even though that doesn't really exist, but it does. It's like where he's so successful and where, particularly at Anfield, and he's got such a successful team, he can come across as quite intimidating. So I know some people criticized Arteta and were a bit like, well, him picking a fight with Klopp on the touchline only kind of, played kind of into Liverpool's hands, got the crowd riled up. And again, I don't really buy that criticism personally. I just think to myself, Arteta saw something on the pitch that he didn't like, which most of us didn't like, and that was the fact that Mane was late on a number of challenges. He reacted to the Mane challenge on Tomiyasu, I believe it was. Yeah. Klopp actually reacted to Arteta's reaction. So when Klopp reacted to Arteta's reaction, Arteta reacted back to Klopp. So for me, I don't think he did anything wrong. Like if I'm on the touchline and I've seen something I don't like with an opposition player, and I want to vocalize that, or I want to make a point in saying that's wrong. You see it all the time. I'm gonna do that. And if in the heat of the moment you're gonna come and try to tell me something else, I'm gonna tell you about yourself. So that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what it was. Adrenaline was rushing. Arteta, his adrenaline was going. He didn't like what he was seeing with regards to the Mane challenge on Tomiyasu. I think it looked as though Mane used his elbow. From the replay, personally, I don't think there was much in it from what I could see. But, real time, it didn't look pretty. Arteta reacted. Klopp reacted to what Arteta said, and they had a bit of a barney. And to be honest, I'm not expecting my manager to back down in that situation. Like, I'm not. I guess for some people, maybe that would have been their reaction, was to back down, or maybe they thought Arteta was overreacting, or maybe they thought that it somehow, played into the hands of the Liverpool crowd or the Liverpool team or whatever. I don't know, but I'm just talking from my personal experience. Me being in that position, if I'd seen something I don't like, and then another manager or coach or geezer came towards me and was saying something about what I'd said, I'd be like, well, first of all, I'm not talking to you. And secondly, if you want to have some, let's have some. So I don't personally think Arteta did much wrong in that situation, personally.
Alb, do you think Michael Oliver was reluctant to hand out yellows to Mane that match? For me, I come to the conclusion that Mane was allergic to yellow cards until he got his first one.
Yeah,
personally, he should have been off before he scored.
The funny thing is, this is not the first time a Mane in his fixture. Secondly, Michael Oliver is actually probably one of the better refs out there as well. So hence the reason why he got the game. Yeah,
I'm going to hit you with a stat there before you go on, Albert. Sorry, but Michael Oliver is the main ref where we've actually lost more games than we've actually won. I can't give you the exact figures, but I got this stat off Stephen a while back. But we've lost more than we've actually won with him refereeing.
To be honest, I thought you were going to say Martin Atkins. Actually, there's quite a few candidates.
There's a few. There's a lot of them that are appalling. But
what's the other guy's name? Job Boss, all them guys.
Yeah. But, appalling referees. But
to be like, I know people. Listen, we can talk about the officiating in this country till the cows come home. But Michael Oliver is probably one of the better refs. Hence the reason why he gets these games. But Yeah, Mane, like I said, this is not the first time of him. And also, I thought his challenge on Ben White was very poor. Very, very poor challenge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the ball was literally out and he did go through him. So I don't know if he got the yellow card for that one. I can't remember now. But yeah, Mane could have, for me personally, he could have easily been sent off. And it could have happened. Whether Michael Oliver bottled it, I'm not sure. But in regards to the sort of the touchline fracker thing, it's interesting because I've seen so many takes on it. So many different takes. People hammering Arteta, people saying sticking up for saying the right thing. The way I look at it, I would expect my manager on the touchline to be riled up when you're seeing an opposing player committing numerous fouls that could result in him being sent off. I don't care whether you're experienced or inexperienced. I would expect a manager to react to that.
Yeah,
and that's what Arteta did.
Yeah.
People say about it got the crowd going, it got the crowd up, and I think at that point, I think Liverpool kind of had picked up the tempo a little bit even before that. But you still got to defend your free kicks, Lottie. You know that you can't
That's
blame
basic.
that on Arteta. Arteta's not on the pitch. You know, when I was on JC show, big up JC. We are Arsenal. He had the picture of the still shot in terms of when the ball was coming in, and all the Arsenal defensive players and defensive midfield players, all their body shapes were wrong. They're not. None of them are goal side. That Arteta can't at that moment. He can't make the defenders defend that. It needs to be better. Yes, Tomiyasu can come around on the cover. Gabriel's body shape is completely in the wrong way. Arsenal probably could have played a more higher line or could have pushed up further 5-10 yards. All if buts maybes. But listen, the Arteta Klopp thing. People talk about listen with Klopp, right? People like Klopp and Conte, even they've always been like that. Conte is even when he first started as a manager, this guy, you just saw him yesterday at the game. The guy loses fine, inexperienced. They do that. So listen, people can hammer Arteta and the momentum change and get the crowd up. It is what it is, man. What can we do? The results happen now, so yeah, it is what it is.
Listen, I've heard a lot of that, and I respect everybody's opinion with regards to how they their take or their perspective on it. But I'm telling you, whether Arteta had lost his temper in that moment or not, still wouldn't have changed the fact that we were going to get beat by Liverpool. Like it had no bearing on the fact that we were outplayed by a far superior team. Like if Arteta had not reacted like that and stayed quiet for the full 90 minutes and not said a word to Klopp, would we have won the game? I don't believe so. So I sometimes I just think like, I've been Arteta's biggest critic at times, but in that situation, in a match situation where you're seeing things you don't like on the touchline, I can't fault a man for getting passionate and angry. I can't fault a man for that. I just think that's a natural reaction.
And you saw the way Liverpool started that second half, that first 15-20 minutes. Their pressing game was superb.
Yeah.
Didn't help that we had individual errors, don't get me wrong, but their pressing game is on a different level, man.
Yeah.
Particularly Anfield.
No, it always has been. I mean, I had time to reflect on the game myself, and we're simply not ready to compete with the likes of City, Liverpool, and Chelsea. We're just not. And I think a lot of the fan bases had a reality check. Yes, we had a good run, but we're still not ready to compete with them. We haven't got enough experience, full stop. And I think we do need to bring in the right players. Well, straight after that, not long after that incident, in comes the Mane goal. Trent Alexander-Arnold, the free kick. In the air, Mane gets on the end of it and just sees it behind Ramsdale. After a couple of minutes, like before that, I mean, he made some absolutely blinding saves after save after save. But it had to be Mane, didn't it, Albert?
Yeah, it had to be. Again, you can argue we know whether he should have been on the pitch, but I remember at the time actually when that goal went in, my immediate thought was actually is Ramsdale's going to be disappointed that he didn't save it. And it's a very difficult save he tried to pull off to try and get that up over the bar with your left. He can do it. He's more than capable of doing that kind of save. But you could, to me, it's probably disappointed he didn't save it. I'm not saying it was a poor header, but with the standards that Ramsdale has set so far since he's been at Arsenal, he probably expected to save it. But again, like I said, I touched on it before. In terms of if you look at the still shot of the way Arsenal defended that free kick, and it was a stupid free kick that actually Aubameyang gave away, to be honest with you. But yeah, it wasn't defended very well, and it's a shame because actually Tomiyasu is very good at being the person who defends on the cover. He's very good at that. Actually, he's very, very good. If he sees danger with his centre backs, if they're out of position, he's normally there. But he was just a fraction too late, and Gabriel's body shape was all over the place. Hence the reason why Van Dijk got in front of him, and then obviously Mane was there to score the header. But it could have been avoided twice: once giving away the stupid free kick, and two, the actual marking of the ball coming in.
No, I completely agree with you there. I mean, we did respond more or less 3 minutes later, but we got absolutely nothing out of it. And then it was more or less half time. But Mane finally got his yellow card for that terrible lunge on Ben White.
Yeah, it was a poor challenge.
At this point, I was sitting there thinking, why is this not the second yellow? I really didn't understand Michael Oliver's decision. But halftime came along, started again, and at 52 minutes, Tavares gives away the ball in the Arsenal box. Yota glides past White, past Ramsdale, and into an empty net for his 5th goal of the season. I mean, I know there's been a lot of criticism of Tavares, but as a converted fullback, he's been doing the job for about 18 months. Do you think he actually deserves that amount of criticism, Jay?
Nah, not at all. It's just, this is what kind of annoys me with Arsenal fans is that, like, I'm as passionate as they come when it comes to Arsenal, and what I do in the privacy of my sitting room, or what I say in the privacy of my sitting room when Arsenal are playing, is in the privacy of my sitting room. In the heat of the moment, anything can happen. But why people decide to then take these, really negative and horrible opinions and put them out onto social media platforms, I really don't understand it. I just don't get it. Like, you didn't even know who Tavares was before he signed for Arsenal. He's come to Arsenal, and I didn't know who he was. And as far as I'm concerned, he's come in as Kieran Tierney's understudy. He's a young player with bags of potential. And for me, again, he's one of those players that he's come in and he's done a fantastic job. And we're playing arguably the best, or if not one of 3 really good teams in the Premier League, quality teams in the Premier League. And he's made a mistake. And he wasn't quite at the races, against Liverpool. Well, okay, that's how I see it. When we spoke about Arsenal's recruitment in the summer, we said we did feel underwhelmed by it. The players have come in, and a lot of them have played a lot better than we expected. But as Arsenal fans, you need to understand. Yes, Ramsdale's come in, done a great job. Tavares has done a great job. Tomiyasu's been impressive at times, but they are young players, and they are going to make mistakes. We've not gone out and spent 50 million on a first choice left back. Somebody who's got like 50 caps at international level, 1 Champions Leagues, 1 Premier Leagues. This is his first season in the Premier League. And we've come up against probably the most informed side in the league. And I don't mean by results, I mean just playing style. And he's made a mistake. He's made an error that's cost us a goal. And I just think to myself, yeah, it's not great. I wasn't happy. I didn't see it live. But when I saw the replay, it was a miss. It was. I could see what he was trying to do, but obviously Liverpool's press, they just intercepted the ball, Obviously, Jota got hold of it and put it in the goal. And yeah, it's not great, but just lay off the kid's back. Like honestly, it's for me, it's just over the top, and it's just offensive, and it's just there's no place for it, you know. I didn't like it at all, and I think it's really hard on the lad because I think he's come in, and like I said, 90% of us didn't know who he was, and I think he's come in and done a really, really good job at Arsenal, and he's made this mistake. And we spoke about this. I've spoken to Albert, you about this. I've spoken to you, Lottie, and Stephen about this, and it's almost like, you know, sections of this fan base are happy to support these boys when they're doing well. But then the minute they make a mistake and they just literally troll these guys, and it's just not nice. And I can't support it. I don't care. Honestly, I care that he made that mistake, but I don't care to the point where he's made that mistake and I'm going to just go online and just dish out disgusting abuse because he's made a mistake on a football pitch. So it's just nonsense for me. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm not best pleased about it. I don't like it.
No, I completely get that. Albert, so at that point, did you think that Arteta should have brought on Kieran Tierney at that point? Sambi had lost his head, so fair enough that Ainsley Maitland-Niles came off. He'd completely lost his head, and I thought, no, he needs to get him off the pitch. A couple of minutes later, he got him off. But do you think Tavares should have come off at that point for Tierney? I mean, I know we haven't seen Tierney much recently because he's been injured, but he's back. Surely he's the ideal candidate to go up against the likes of Mane.
I think at that stage of the game, was it? So they scored 7 minutes into the second half.
It's 52 minutes.
You could argue that possibly, Lottie, but I think there are other substitutions that surprised me a little bit, to be honest with you. I mean, I took off Aubameyang and kept Lacazette on, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't 2-0 at that point. Bring Tierney on, would it? I don't know, Lottie. Either way, he could have done it. Didn't do it. You know, that was the case. But unfortunately for Tavares, not just obviously the mistake, but it actually got worse. I mean, some of the passes he's playing, I just like, I wanted the ground to swallow him up, man. But so I get your point about potentially making a substitution because, like I said, it got worse after that. To be honest, I was like, oh my god. I mean, that pass to Ramsdale was into no man's land. There was a couple other passes as well.
If Lips could kill after that pass.
Yeah. So it wasn't great, but I think for people that are going, "Oh, Tierney should have started," I'm like, hold on a minute. Like Tavares deserved his starting berth in that game on Saturday. There's no two ways about it. So I think that's a little bit harsh for Arsenal fans to turn around and say that after the event. Because listen, maybe there were a very small percentage of Arsenal fans said, you know what, irrespective of what Kieran Tierney starting, fair play if you did turn around and say that. But I think a lot of it was done in reaction, obviously, to Tavares' nightmare second half. I just think, come on, that's a little bit harsh on him. But
I agree.
But some of the stuff, like I said to you, I did my fan cam. I went onto another channel, and some of the stuff I'm seeing in the chat, it's almost as if some of the fan base were waiting for us to lose that game, in particular against Liverpool, and for it to be a Tonkin to go in on whoever it is going to be that day. And I see some of the stuff in regards to Sambi and in particular Nuno Tavares, and I don't get it, man. I generally don't understand it. What you're going to hammer some of these? You're going to hammer some of these boys now. Are defensively, some of our boys. You know, when losing the hardest away game probably going to have this season. Yeah. You know, I don't really understand. I mean, would you expect us to go there and win? I don't know. Like, I don't know every Arsenal fan, so I'm not sure. But Tierney wasn't great before, the injury. I think before Leicester, I think it was. But his form wasn't fantastic. So people need to understand that. I love Kieran Tierney. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, some of the stuff I saw on social media wise in regards to some of it with Tomiyasu, a lot of it with Tavares, some of it with Sambi was just more than unnecessary. And I'm being polite by saying that because I could use stronger words than that.
No, I completely get that. I mean, after that, we had 20 minutes of pretty poor play, in my opinion, and then the 73rd minute came along. In comes Salah. It was bound to happen. I mean, the amount of shots he had saved or completely missed was unbelievable. For a player of his stature, he should be scoring these goals, don't you think, Jay?
Yeah, but I'm glad he didn't.
I think we all are, to be fair.
Because it's that goal was like a walk in the park, that goal, the third goal. At that point we'd completely lost shape, completely lost fight. And we were like a punch drunk boxer. You know what I mean? We were just on the ropes at that point, and it was literally damage limitation. So it was like, how many goals are Liverpool gonna get at this stage? And to be honest, at that point, I just wanted the final whistle to go. Because we weren't in the game. Like you said, once the second goal had gone in, we just weren't in the game. We weren't in the game at all. And I just wanted the referee to put us out of our misery, to be honest, before it got embarrassing. But yeah, I know we're going back a bit, but do big up Ramsdale, because even he's come under a little bit of criticism, which I think is astonishing, because I think it could have been 4 or 5-0 at halftime if it weren't for him anyway. But yeah, at that point, Salah got his goal, which we all expected he would at some stage, especially with Liverpool running riot. But yeah, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty, the third goal. They literally just, I think it was 3 or 4 passes, and they completely split our team apart and got the third goal. So yeah, not great. Not great.
Yeah, no, I mean, it wasn't like 4 minutes later when Henderson lofted the ball to Mane, and then he laid it off to Salah, and then Trent Alexander-Arnold, and then it was over to Minamino. I think I said that right.
Yeah.
And then he was at that back post just to get the pass in. I mean, why wasn't someone marking him, Albert? There was just no one there.
I think what touching on what G said, I think at that point the shape and the structure had completely gone. You know what I mean? Even before the third goal, fourth goal, Arsenal had no attacking threat whatsoever, and defensively we was pulled apart. The midfield didn't help. They didn't help. Partey wasn't too great, and Sambi wasn't too great. But yeah, we just at that point, like I said, Liverpool started that first 20 minutes, that second half. Their pressing game. They actually started the second half how I thought they'd start the match, and they didn't. But listen, they're a very good side. Salah's at a point in his career now where he's in a different class, man. So that's what sort of fascinates me with sections of our fan base, to where they're hammering the defense. I'm like, well, have you seen Mo Salah play?
Yeah,
exactly.
Does it get more? It doesn't get more stark reality than that. Like I said, Diego Jota is a very, very good player. I think Liverpool missed him last season, to be honest, when he had that long-term injury. And Trent is just an assist merchant. His delivery and set piece and how to pick a pass. Listen, we got taught a footballing lesson. Yes, there were some mistakes in there, of course there was, but yeah, I was surprised you turned around and say people was getting at Ramsdale. I really don't know how that was the case, but very strange, very, very strange.
Is Lottie with us? You frozen or?
She's frozen.
You there, Lottie?
She's moving, but she's frozen.
I think the people who disapproved of am I talking? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you, but I can't see you moving. But it's okay. We can hear you.
Wow, that was a delay. That was like a 30-second delay. Wow.
You back, Lottie?
Yeah, I'm still here. I've been talking.
Yeah, we can see you. We can see you now. Yeah.
No. Okay, good. Sorry, guys. The screen didn't even drop out. That's crazy. No, but anyway, we kind of wrapped up. Would you, Albert? Would you say we sort of gave up? Were we sloppy overall, or just falling apart?
I think what the thing for me,
because
I think the thing I mentioned was that the problem for me with Arsenal was that even when we did have possession of the ball, we were just sloppy and we took too long on the ball. Our passing was poor, and I didn't really understand that for the simple fact that we knew what we would have been coming up against Liverpool away. We know they press well. We know that in the Premier League, generally speaking, you don't get a lot of time on the ball. And you're not going to get that at Anfield. So in the second half, to me, it got worse because in terms of our possession, we're just very sloppy. Even when we made the subs, taking too long on the ball. You know, they've pressed us for a majority of that second half, especially. And Liverpool play a very high tempo game. So just when we better care of the ball, just that's what I want to see. Particularly when we're playing against the best teams away from home, it needs to be better. That's 2 games now against City and now against Liverpool where we haven't kept the ball very well, and that's a big problem.
Lottie's there.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you.
Oh, she's there.
Yeah, screen keeps
I tried
freezing.
to again. I've been talking for a couple of minutes. Oh, sorry, guys. I do apologise. My internet's given up on me. G, overall, do you think we just gave up or were we sloppy, basically?
You know what?
Did we lose our heads?
You know what? It's a tough one because we do these streams and we have our channel and I go onto other people's channels. But look, I'm no expert when it comes to football. You know, I played a bit of football. I watch a game. I could give my opinion, and I find it really difficult. I just think there's a lot of reasons why we kind of just didn't perform the way we did. And I think a lot of that potentially is psychological with this team as well. I think as soon as the game started, even though we played better in the first kind of 20, 30 minutes than we did across the 90, I'm not sure if the players were even convinced they could get a result. Personally, that's just an opinion that I have. And I think that definitely is an issue. I think the belief within the squad is improving, and we can see that. But I'm not sure if mentally many of those players believe they could get a result against Liverpool. And I think that's why I tell you why that is, because it's like as soon as things don't start to go your way, you lose faith very quickly. If you don't actually believe something, like concrete believe it, as soon as things start to go a little bit wrong, you kind of just you go to your default settings where it's like, oh, we can't win this, and you kind of just lose your way. So I'm not entirely convinced that the players thought they could win this game or get anything out of the game. So I think as soon as Liverpool got the goal, and then obviously the second goal, heads dropped, confidence went, and they kind of accepted the inevitability that we were going to get beaten. But it's a tough one because at the same time, I put a tweet up and I had a mixed bag of responses in that I said I didn't really learn much. Well, I said I didn't learn anything new from that game. And what I meant by that was that, Liverpool are a better side than Arsenal right now.
Yeah.
And they're title challengers and we're not. And I think, they have an experienced coach. We don't. They have experienced players. We don't. They have proven winners in that side. We don't. So, when you kind of look at it really and truly, it is a bit of a mismatch. And I think we could have managed the game better. I think tactically as well as the players on the pitch, but hopefully that will come. I'm not, as much as I was really disappointed about the result and disappointed about the performance, I'm still looking at it like, look, we're 12 games in, we've played City, we've played Chelsea, we've played Liverpool, and we've played Spurs. Arguably, 4 of the best, 6 teams in the Premier League. And we're sitting in 5th place. And while I've not been absolutely thrilled with the way we played in a lot of matches, I'm pretty content in terms of where we are, on the league table. So, you know what I mean? Like losing to Liverpool 4-0 is not going to be the defining moment of our season. There are a lot more important games. And I think what we need to now focus on as a team is we need to focus on bouncing back against Newcastle. I think we've got really important games against United and Everton coming up. And I think if we can string together a couple of good performances and go on a somewhat similar run of, 8, 10, 12 game unbeaten run, I think fans will quickly forget about this result. Just as many fans have, had already forgotten about the City thumping we got, before the 10 game unbeaten run. So as much as I'm disappointed with the performance and disappointed with the result, I am somewhat putting it into context, and I do understand that we did play a phenomenally good Liverpool side, probably the best Liverpool side I've ever seen as a football fan in my time watching the Premier League. So yeah, it was a tough one to swallow, but it's done now. We just got to move on, and look ahead to the Newcastle game and hopefully get 3 points and be back on track. No,
completely agree with you both. I mean, it's always been a tough trip going up there. I mean, I was optimistic in terms of a draw, but never a win. I mean, as Albert said, we haven't beaten them there nearly 10 years now. Nearly 10 years. Believe it or not. I mean, 2022 is just around the corner. So, do you know what? With salaries peak, I can't see that changing anytime soon either. No. Right, before we wrap up, I did want to touch on one really quick thing with you guys. It was about Mano Iwabuchi. She plays for our women's team. End of the game, she tweeted 4-0, crying faces, which is fair enough. She's a part of Arsenal. She might play for the women's team, but she's still Arsenal at the end of the day. The response she got to it was absolutely ridiculous. Fair enough, one of her compatriots scored for Liverpool, but also another one of her compatriots also plays for Arsenal, which is Tomiyasu. The response from certain sections of this fan base was racist remarks, and it was a bit overboard. And it got to the point where she actually apologised for even tweeting the tweet. And personally, for me, I don't think she had anything to apologise for. She's top of the WSL. Yeah. We're second in the Champions League group. She's scored 3 times in the Champions League. Do you think that tweet justifies racist abuse, Albert? Honestly.
No, I wasn't actually aware of it until you sort of told me a few hours ago. Because there's a lot of things that happen on Twitter, flipping over. It's hard to keep up. But I mean, if anybody with any ounce of common sense can look at her original tweet and take issue with that, I find that very, very odd. What she's supposed to use a different emoji to sum up how she felt about the game. I don't understand. Like, what's wrong with people's intelligence or lack of it, should I say? I mean, and to then get the response she got. I mean, I saw the tweets. I saw the response tweets, and I was thinking, wow, that really is something. And then for her to have to apologize is just beyond crazy. I mean, what's going on, man? He's one of our players, you know. This is madness, absolute mad. I couldn't believe it. Like I said, I can understand if I could even start understanding she'd put an emoji that you thought, what, that's a bit mad. Why is she tweeting that? But surely you could tell it was a crying face emoji. That's not a good emoji. That's done with a reason. You know, we got beat 4-0 for crying out loud. But yeah, the response, I mean, wow. I say nothing shocks me on social media, and it doesn't mostly, but yeah, sometimes choice of words can shock you still. And yeah, it went beyond. It's beyond comprehension, to be honest.
I totally agree. G, what are your thoughts on it? It shouldn't be acceptable for someone who's joined us in the summer. I believe she was one of our first signings for the women's team.
Listen, she's a big woman. It's her Twitter account. She should be allowed to tweet whatever she wants to tweet. Like, it's just ridiculous. It just gets on my nerves. Like, honestly, it does. It infuriates me because it's like, you know, she's even if this player has put on 4-0 to Liverpool and put laughing emojis. Even if she's done that and completely disrespected Arsenal Football Club, no single person on Twitter should racially abuse this woman for that. Even if she did that, she didn't do that.
Exactly.
But even if she did completely mock Arsenal Football Club, it's no excuse under any circumstances that she should be racially abused for it. You know, say what you want about the tweet. Say what you want, you know, about, you know, her choice of words. But to attack her racially because of what she tweeted, it's just ridiculous. And then the fact that she had to go out publicly and apologize.
It's mad. It's crazy.
It's just beyond me.
It
and
is.
you know, it's beyond me. And I just think to myself, like, I really hope it wasn't Arsenal Football Club or anybody associated with the club that advised her to apologize, because she had nothing to apologize for. Like,
yeah, if that happens, that will tick me off, man. That's true.
I just hope that she kind of got overwhelmed with what she was reading and just thought, oh, you know what, before this gets out of hand, I might as well just say sorry. Because I can understand that in that situation, I can understand somebody saying, you know what, like, I didn't mean it, but I'm just going to say sorry, because they just want the problem to go away. I can get that. But I just really hope that nobody in Arsenal Football Club or anybody close to her has advised her. And when I say that, I don't mean family and friends. I mean somebody in a professional, you know, professional football industry, or an agent or anything like that, because she has nothing to apologize for. She's a grown-ass professional woman who can literally, in my eyes, tweet what she wants to tweet. And you can have an opinion about what she's actually tweeted, but under no circumstances should it be a license for you to racially abuse the woman. It's just not acceptable. It's just not. So, but it just epitomizes that, you know, what a cesspit Twitter can be at times, in my opinion. You know, it can be a beautiful place, and you can forge, you know, amazing relationships and friendships, you know, like we have, you know, me and you, Lottie, me and Stephen, me and Albert. You know, it can be an amazing place for that. But at the same time, it can be an absolutely disgusting platform at the same time. And it's horrible. And that was just one example of that.
That's the thing.
No, definitely. I just think I didn't exactly expect such an extreme reaction from that. I mean, she's been...
Yeah, it was.
She's come from up north down to us, and it was just a really extreme reaction, and I couldn't get my head around it to why it was done. What do people get out of it? Seriously, is it some sick sort of kick? But do you know what? I was expecting her to play on Sunday, and I have a feeling she was pulled because of that incident.
Probably.
So hopefully we'll see her back for after the international break. Hopefully she's playing for Japan over the break. I think they're playing. Yeah. And we'll see what happens with the women's. And if you want to find out more about the women's shows, guys, come and find me tomorrow night for the Manchester review. I've got some very special guests coming to join me tomorrow night at 8:00. I know it clashes with a certain show you're doing tomorrow, Albert. Do you want to tell us more about it and where people can find you?
My show's at 7 tomorrow. So yeah, I'm doing my segment on Lee Judges TV. I've got my fantastic young man with me, Rowan, and I've got another guest who I'm just gonna finalize the details today, hopefully, or tomorrow. But yeah, 7 p.m. tomorrow, Lee Judges TV. I'll be doing my segment. Should be interesting.
Yeah, I know what's going on behind the scenes with that, so I'm excited. I love that.
Of course. Sorry, and
it's one of my favorites.
Sorry, yeah, and I've got an episode of Life Stories on my channel coming up Friday. I've just guessed I've finally finalized. So yeah, looking forward to it. Been a long time coming, very long time.
Brilliant.
Coming. Yeah,
absolutely cannot wait. G, do you want to run us through this? Let's just have a quick look at these comments very quickly. Oh, George is in the house. Hello, George. Hi, guys. Didn't manage to get to the game, but some of the social media would never have guessed that we're still fifth. We have a young squad, definitely a learning curve. George, glad you're here, mate, and glad everything's sorted out for you as well. I mean, is George wrong at all? G?
So fifth, I think well, definitely a learning curve. Yeah, that's what I mean. I just said, like, for me, I think you can take apart that, you can take apart that game and that performance. And to be honest, there wasn't very many positives to take from the game at all. No. At the same time, as much as I've been Arteta and Arsenal's biggest critic this season, I've seen glimpses. I see a defense being built. I do see some really positive recruitment having been made over the summer, and results have improved. And I think when I take that all into context, I'm very much like, okay, well, look, I'm going to see how the season pans out, because right now, after 12 games, we're fifth. And I probably wouldn't have said that, a couple of, 10 league games ago, particularly how we started. So, yeah, we are a young squad. And, I think we just need to I think some Arsenal fans need to come to terms with where we are and what we're about as a club at the moment. It does definitely feel like this is a long-term project. And if you look at the recruitment we made in the summer, that it gives that feel that it is a long-term project. They're not looking for instant success. So, yeah, fifth in the league, young squad, 12 games in. So far, I would say I'm not thrilled, but I'm content as things stand.
Absolutely brilliant, Jay. Jay, can you take us through the socials now?
No worries. So yeah, thanks guys for tuning in to our shows, whether you're watching this live or at a later date. We are on all the kind of general social media platforms. So Facebook, which is @CannonChatter, Instagram, which is @Cannon_Chatter, and most recently TikTok, which is @Cannon_Chatter. Most of you will know us from Twitter, where we do most of our interactions, and hopefully most of them are positive, although we do get the odd negative one here and there. But yeah, if you're not following the official Cannon Chatter account, that is @CannonChatter. Stephen's not with us tonight because he's feeling a bit poorly, so get better soon, Stephen. But if you want to follow Stephen, who hopefully will be back with us soon, that is @SB_CannonChatter. I'm G Talks Arsenal. That's where you can find me on Twitter. And if you want to follow Lottie, who is our host tonight, and fellow Cannon Chatter member, that's @Lottie_B. That's 2 T's and 2 I's, because somebody beat her to it. And Lottie's got a blog which she regularly updates. What's the latest with regards content-wise, Lottie?
The latest, everything is up there but Watford, and I am dreading writing Liverpool, so I'm putting that is definitely going to be late. I can promise you, it's going to be a painful write. I'm not looking forward to it, to be honest, but it will get done. Hopefully before Newcastle. I'm on I've got another 2 shows this week, so it's definitely going to be a little bit late, I'm afraid, guys. But if you want to go and catch up with the latest, you can go check it at lottieafc.blogspot.co.uk.
No problem. To purchase any Cannon Chatter t-shirts or hoodies, please do email info@cannonchatter.com or DM SB Cannon Chatter on Twitter, or drop any of us a DM, and we'll be able to give you any further information with regards to that. And please do, if you have tuned in or you do tune in and you like our content, please make sure that you subscribe, you turn on those notifications, and you hit that like button.
Okay, Albert, do you want the final word for the night? And normally it goes to Stephen, but I'm sure you can fill his shoes in.
The final word. Anything in particular?
Anything you like.
Fire away.
No, it was touching on the mic. Now, firstly, big up to the people in the chat. Very massive interaction there. Again, thank you for having me on the channel. Much appreciated. And yeah, I think to Arsenal fans, generally speaking, I think, listen, I'll take the point with the last comment that you kind of put up about it being a young squad and Arsenal being fifth. I think that probably the saving grace, but I think the problem is that can quickly change. And the reason why that can quickly change is because if this continues in terms of our attacking outlet, this is not going to end well. Even though we've improved, even though I'm happier with our defensive unit, and like I said, I mentioned it a few weeks ago, even fast forward through the whole season, as long as this back five get to play with each other consistently, it'll be better in the long run. But it does concern me, the attacking side of it, because stats aren't everything, which is true, but our attacking stats are very, very damning, and that could potentially, we could come unstuck because of that.
Oh, brilliant. G, anything else?
Bring on Newcastle and 3 points. We need them.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, definitely. True. Come on, your Gunners. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Well, I will see you tomorrow.